Hello, my sweet, wonderful, talented recruiting comrades. Rob Stevenson here at the helm of hiring on all cylinders, surging forth once more with undaunted resolution in my never-ending mission to provide you just rock-solid, glimmering, mind-altering recruiting content. And I'm rather fond of today's episode. It features the CEO of Simppler, a company with a remarkable employee referral product. His name is Vipul Sharma, and we dig into such quandaries as: does an active employer referral program run the risk of torpedoing your company's diversity? Do referral bonuses actually work as incentives? All this and much, much more. Vipul is brilliant. He's articulate. Simppler is a powerful and fascinating product. I am, as ever, chuffed to my giblets for you all to hear this one. So, without further ado, let's cast a pod.
Do you want to add value to your business, or do you want to just be this administrative person?
And often, if you look at your talent team and the caliber of talent in your company, they correlate.
You could hire the best person for the job if they were in your candidate pool.
All these individual employees, one by one, together, their voices all come together to articulate the culture of the company.
This is
Hiring on all
cylinders.
Vipul, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for hosting me.
Simppler is an awesome tool. I have a million questions. Can't wait to hear about it. But right off the bat, I'm just a little curious about your own experience. I noticed that you have a long background in engineering before you wanted to move into the HR space. So I'm curious, what was it that made you want to build a tool in our space?
So yeah, I do have a long background in engineering, specifically in machine learning. I spent a lot of time using data science to, build systems to counter spam, build recommendation engines, and many other things. One of the things that got me fascinated towards recruiting was my experience at Eventbrite. The company was going through a rapid growth path, and we were growing from 50, 60 people to 400, 500 people. And that's really when I started looking deeply into recruiting as a problem. And one of the things that I realized was that one channel of recruiting that worked really great was employee referrals. But I started realizing that the majority of the innovation that was going on in recruiting was on the sourcing side of things, and employee referrals was not getting enough innovation. So that's how the whole thing came together, where we realized that we can use machine learning recommendation engines to make this process really streamlined, to automatically find the best people from employees' network and facilitate the collaboration between employees, hiring managers, and recruiters. And that's how the idea of Simppler came together.
Gotcha. So at that point at Eventbrite, it was more of just a focused effort on the recruiting team's part to maximize employee referrals as opposed to using any specific tools?
Absolutely. At that point in time, there was not even a tool that would help companies to actually really tap into employees' network and facilitate introductions through that channel.
Gotcha. Yeah. And it seems like that's the case in a lot of organizations. It's just sort of people realize, oh, employee referrals are a great channel. Let's put into a program. But that program takes place like in various spreadsheets and in just like messaging to the team, like, hey, don't forget to give us your referrals. So awesome that you have a solution for it. And now I'm just curious, can you, just to kind of contextualize it, can you tell us a little bit about Simppler?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started the company 3 years ago, and our entire focus behind Simppler is to facilitate team collaborations within recruiting. So what we feel is that there's a lot of innovation that's happening on the top of the funnel of recruiting, which is focus is to find great candidates. But where recruitings become really easy is when you're able to actually engage the candidates that you're talking to. And that's where employee referrals really become very powerful, where if employees, first of all, you trust your employees, and employees are already connected with great people from their past work, schools, and various places. What we put our focus on is to use technology to identify what makes great candidates into a company, and find those candidates, similar candidates in employees' network. And now once you make the process extremely easy and put those people in front of your employees, then we facilitate collaboration on top of it by making it extremely easy for employees to work with the recruiting team to engage with these people. So what we are seeing since we had been in production is that companies are not only increasing their employee referral volume, but significantly increasing the quality and actually making hiring through that channel.
That's incredible. So there's that whole problem with referrals, like people don't know who they know necessarily. Your tool takes it a step further and says, here are not just the people who are relevant, but are best fit according to like current performers in the company, or how does it sort of figure that out?
We have a lot of experience building recommendation engines in our company. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that we know recruiters are very good in sourcing and using search as a means to find great candidates. But employees are not very good at that experience. So from start of the Simppler, we invested a lot of our energy into really understanding what would make a great candidate for a job, given what we find from the job description, as well as the people that a company has hired. So our machine learning algorithms are very good in understanding the needs of a company and a job, looking into job description as well as existing employees. And from there, we can essentially take those attributes and match those attributes against the attributes of employees' connections and find the best people. But not only that, what we also have is what we call affinity engine, because nowadays as social networking is becoming more and more dominant, we are connecting with at a much faster pace with many people, right? So, but employee referrals, what we realized are much more powerful when employees are introducing the people that they actually will vouch for, or people that actually have studied with, worked with, and actually can put their confidence behind those candidates.
Right.
So our affinity engine would also look into how well an employee is connected to this candidate, how long they have known each other, whether they have worked together, studied together, looks at many other attributes. And based on all of these criteria, that what is this job description about, what are the kind of employees that are in this company, find the best people within employees network, and on top of that, find the people that employees really connected with. That recommendation engine puts like really high quality people up front in front of employees. And the fact that employees are reaching out to these candidates really results in a very high engagement rate. And that's why the employee referrals actually take on to the next level, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just assessing for relevance, but also depth of connection or closeness to your own employee, which I think is really important, because I've had hiring managers come to me and like they've already gone through my LinkedIn connections. They're like, hey, do you think this person would be a good fit? I worked with this person at Jamba Juice 10 years ago, so no, I don't think so. And there's a ton of research that shows also, like, if they're actually a close referral, close contact, they're more likely to accept the offer. They're more likely to stick around as well, right?
Absolutely. And we when we started Simppler, we were just looking at pure relevance, where we were matching jobs against employees' network. And what we realized, even though the quantity of referrals was going up, the quality was going down, because employees were, engaging with our recommendations and introducing them to the recruiting team. But recruiting team was actually looking from employees to put people in front of them that they actually can say that, yes, I worked with this person and this person is awesome. So we quickly made the change to build this affinity on top of it. And we're realizing that the number of emails that are going out from employees to these recommendations have significantly increased after our affinity engine. And that's because of the fact that now they're able to see and discover people that they actually know, rather than anybody on LinkedIn or email or phone books.
Right. People they feel comfortable reaching out to, I guess.
Exactly.
So when you notice this explosion of just candidates being referred, that's part and parcel with the tool working, but does it also have to do with the way that talent teams incentivize employees to make referrals?
Yeah, and that's a great question. Employee referral is actually a pretty deep problem, because the way we look at it is that we have two different set of customers, employees and recruiters.
Yes.
We not only have to make employees extremely happy and engaged by providing them a very simple experience and also providing them easy ways to find the best people within their network, but then we also have to provide recruiters a solid workflow where they can consume all these referrals that are getting produced in an efficient way. They can get reporting like referral payouts, deep reporting on different campaigns, but also ability for them to actually find great people from employees' network and then request for introductions. So there's a lot goes on inside what looks like a simple problem of referrals. Essentially, the way we look at it is a more of a team collaboration problem. All the great work that sourcing solutions are providing are built for recruiters, and they do an extremely good job to make recruiters efficient in reaching out to the people that they may or may not be connected. But what we have to do is bring employees closer to recruiters so that both of these parties can work together to facilitate engagement with these great candidates that are already connected to them. And what we realize that once you do that, that employee engagement is largely facilitated with this collaboration itself. When you put great recommendation in front of employees and you provide a collaborating platform, the engagement organically happens within the organization. It goes to the next effect that, what we are realizing, seeing with our customer base and even outside, is that there's been a lot of focus in industry on referral bonuses.
Right.
And what we are realizing is that actually doesn't motivate or those incentives really doesn't help companies to engage their employees as much as they can do when they actually deploy a tool like Simppler, because now employees just not, normally people don't think about that, hey, there's a $5,000 bonus, so I should refer someone. Employees do want to help their companies. They want to actually work with people that they know and they like working with, but they just don't think about those people in their day-to-day work. When the companies are using tools like Simppler, it makes it extremely easy for recruiters and employees to work together. And that works far better than any employee referral bonus. So we are seeing most of our customers are now moving towards, smaller rewards and bonuses rather than like big cash prizes. And we have a functionality called campaigns where recruiters and hiring managers can create campaigns, short-term campaigns, putting focus on, certain roles, certain qualifications, things like that. And that is producing much more engagement than referral bonuses.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, because if I have someone in my network who would be a great fit at my company, and assume I'm an engaged employee and I want to help the company grow, I'm not holding that person back, just like waiting for a $10,000 bonus check to be like dangled in front of me, right? Like that's it's much more likely that person's going to surface if someone from the recruiting team sits down, goes through my contacts, and sort of like shows active participation in finding someone, as opposed to just like, hey, here's a promise of money, now send us people.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the traditional employee referral programs, what companies are really tapping into is referrals that are what we call active referrals. That really means is that somebody's looking for a job and then they reached out to an employee in a specific company and that, hey, I'm looking for a job. Do you have anything available for me? But they're missing out on a lot of what we call, referral sourcing aspect of it, where employees can engage the people that they know, even if they're not looking for a job, and sell their company and a brand. And that can only happen when you're using a tool like Simppler, where you can see a qualified candidate that is connected to an employee, and then you can reach out to them. So that's another huge, huge difference between traditional employee referrals and then what we provide. And as employees use tools more, they feel more invested into it. They see that hires happen because of their work that organically increase the engagement over the course of the company. So we really don't think employee referral bonuses are meant for engaging employees. It's more like thanking employees for their work. But in order to think about engagement is a whole another problem, which is facilitated more by collaboration, campaigns, better recommendations, and just giving employees power to actually hire more people from their networks.
I want to zoom out a little bit and talk about employee referrals just in general in terms of a hiring channel. It's definitely the most common, most successful hiring channel. It certainly is at Intello. And I worry, though, that when you rely too much on employee referrals, most people's networks, just by no fault of their own, really, tend to look like they do. So is there a concern that with too much of a reliance on employee referrals, you could wind up with a homogenous company? And if so, is there a sweet spot of how much of the total pipeline employee referral should contribute?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have looked into this quite a bit. We have actually experimented with our own data. We have shared this data outside with certain blog posts as well. this data that employee referrals can lead into homogeneous employees are like people's networks are homogeneous, and hence when you hire from that network, you can create a very homogeneous culture inside a company is something to worry about. But what we are realizing is that that problem actually propagates much more in traditional employee referrals when a tool like Simppler is not deployed. And it's counterintuitive. Here's why. When you're just asking your employees to think about a couple of people that they know that are awesome, they're naturally going to think about one or two people that comes on top of their mind. They are usually people that they've actively worked with in their past jobs, and they tend to be homogeneous. But when you deploy a tool like Simppler, when you're giving ability to every single employee in the company to refer across every single job, what you see is a lot more heterogeneous pool, because we marketing folks are referring great engineers, engineers are referring great salespeople are referring great HR people, and this cross-departmental pollination actually results in a very heterogeneous group. That's impossible to happen if there is not a tool like Simppler, which is unbiased, based on certain aspect of the way humans think about people. And what it's trying to do is just find the best people that match with those jobs and with the criteria within the company and put it in front of employees. When employees see the right people, they are not thinking about whether those people are like them or not. It's like, great, I know this person is awesome, so I should engage them. And that results in a very, very heterogeneous group. So I am a huge believer that without a tool like Simppler, you will see that behavior. But when you make the playing field very level for every employee, you are actually promoting a lot more cross-pollination than anything without Simppler. So we are yet to see in any of our customer facing that problem. In fact, we shared our data at least on gender diversity, and that it looks very uniform, almost split into half of the referrals that are getting generated on gender diversity. So that's the way at least we think about it. But there's no single hiring channel, whether it is sourcing, whether it's inbound application, whether it's employee referrals, that would constitute 60-70% of hiring. I think hiring is a very complicated problem, and every single channel that is contributing into recruiting is important. And at the end of the day, it's people who have to make a conscious effort in making sure that their organizations are diverse. They're hiring from not only different diversity channel, but also from different schools, different organizations, to bring those different kind of thought process into the organization. And every channel should contribute into that aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, congratulations. It sounds like you've solved the nasty problem, like the dark side of employee referrals. So that's amazing. I guess I hadn't considered that. Of course, the technology wouldn't have the unconscious biases that someone might as they mine their own network. So that's really awesome to hear.
Yeah, and we have thought about diversity from a lot of different ways, and we have thought about it. Should we build classifiers and provide them as filters to recruiters? Should we really promote diverse candidates in our recommendation? At the end of the day, what we decided to do was do it in a way like make our recommendations completely unbiased to anything, and just like focus on the best fit for the organization from the job descriptions and the qualities and the criteria provided by the organization. And thought about diversity from point of views that we don't have any picture on our platform. We removed all images. Because what we want to have people think about is, this is the candidate, this is the candidate's best fit for this job, this would be the candidate that I've really enjoyed working with, and now I should actually go ahead and engage them. Our experimentation on diversity would be based on a lot of things which are non-traditional, and what we want to do is that currently only 10-15% of employees really engage with employee referrals. We want to increase that number to 40-50%. When more and more people in organizations will actually engage with employee referral programs, you will see even better results on diversity and heterogeneous aspect of building a team than already what we are seeing.
I love it. I could keep talking to you about employee referrals for another hour, but I wanted to make sure I sort of picked your brain a little bit. on the future of recruiting. So I'm just curious what big changes you see happening in our space in the next 5-10 years.
The way I think about recruiting is that so far, if we look at the trends that have happened in recruiting, where LinkedIn did an amazing job was to bring the resume online. Because of that, what has happened is it has become extremely easy for companies and recruiters to reach out to anybody. But that has also created few other issues that has also basically put a lot of emphasis on the first few pages of search results that get facilitated on LinkedIn. So same people are hearing from recruiters over and over again. And a lot of people that are great candidates are missing out from that pool. And so there will be a lot of emphasis in future where I would see that people who have not put a lot of focus in building their LinkedIn profiles, but have expressed their work on various other sources on internet, like what they're doing on GitHub, Bitbucket, Quora, etc., will get a lot of tools like Intello will make it easy for recruiters to find people outside just LinkedIn and make it easy for them to reach out to those people and get them excited about what's happening in their company. But I also think there would be a huge amount of focus now, which will go on the bottom of the funnel. I feel that recruiting and recruiters are very much focused on the top of the funnel, where they want to actually reach out to as many people as they can. If you really look at what happens in sales and marketing, there's a huge amount of focus on conversion rather than outreach.
Right.
That problem is just started to actually take, or that thinking has just started to take place into head of recruitings and recruiters' mind, where they want to now reach out to the people that they have highest chance of converting. And that's why you will see the problem of finding the right fit for the role is only going to get so much attention, but more would be what are the right people that you should actually really engage. And that's where I feel that the machine learning and data mining can be used in a very effective way to find people that are much closer to an organization, but also facilitate communication in a way that actually really resonate with candidates. When I look at the big trends, I see is that recruiters getting more access to more 360-degree profile of candidates on what they're doing on internet. That's one. Second is recruiting tools becoming very much similar to what is going on in sales and marketing, whether it is from CRM, from sourcing, lead generation, lead scoring, lead nurturing perspective. And third, there would be a lot of emphasis on the bottom of the funnel and really focusing on how do we actually convert these candidates rather than just sending a message to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's no point in adding leads to the top of the funnel if they're not quality, if they're not going to convert or close. Very reassuring that that you see the future of sourcing in terms of assessing the whole 360 view of the candidate, because that implies some job security for myself working at Intello. A lot of companies and vendors talk a big game on AI and machine learning. Sounds like you actually have some really powerful technology there. So it was really fascinating getting to hear all about it.
Thanks so much, Rob, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. And I look forward to seeing continued success of Intello and working closer as we build Simppler here.
And vice versa. Appreciate it, Vipul. Thank you so much. Well, that just about does it for Vipul and myself. Once more, I've been Rob Stevenson. You've been amazing, talented, wonderful recruiters. Have a spectacular week, and happy hunting.